Hello everyone and welcome back to a little bit of a different video. As you can see, I am on CBR.com and I just read the most stupid thing ever related to the Snyder Cut that was released a few days ago, depending on when this video gets uploaded. But Zack Snyder's Justice League is proof the SnyderVerse shouldn't be restored. Despite pleasing the fans who campaigned for its release, Zack Snyder's Justice League is proof that the SnyderVerse shouldn't be restored. The reason they are giving is that it's no surprise that with all a proportion of fans who demanded Zack Snyder's Justice League be released pleased, they would then lobby for Warner Brothers to restore the SnyderVerse. Obviously we want to restore the SnyderVerse. I mean, he had a 5-movie arc planned with 3 Justice League movies, but after all, this version is confirmation that the studio and Joss Whedon worked together to sabotage the Snyder laid down before the project. However, after soaking in every bit of this 4-hour-long epic, this film is proof that Snyder's vision shouldn't be continued. Okay, first of all, Snyder has the best vision in any of the director from DC. I mean, the vision that the suits have is basically destroying the universe. I mean, what reason do they have to not restore the SnyderVerse? They basically hate money, because if Zack Snyder released his movie, the tragedy didn't happen and he was able to finish the movie, or that Warner Brothers delayed the movie, that would mean that we would have a SnyderVerse. We wouldn't need to #restore the SnyderVerse. There would already be a SnyderVerse. Joss Whedon wouldn't be anywhere near it. He wouldn't have ruined the foundations that were laid by Zack Snyder from Man of Steel and BVS. Let's continue here. Sure, there are some redeeming moments in the movie, most of which are centered around Cyborg's family. I mean, that is true. Cyborg was the heart of the movie, which was not a bad thing. It was actually great to see an actor of color be the center of a movie, but Joss Whedon obviously cut him out of the movie, Ray Fisher, for some reason, and his eventual robotic turn, and then as Amazon's getting a fuller arc tied to the Darkseid's invasion. But other than that, there's not much here that will put the DC Extended Universe anywhere near Marvel Studios. Okay, we're just nailing everything they put out. Okay, nailing everything that gets put out. Alright, I see where they're going here. They are Marvel fans writing shit about DC. We have seen it before, and we will see it again. First of all, yeah, Marvel may have some great movies that make a lot of money, but who in their right mind is gonna watch Ant-Man and the Wasp for a second time? Even the first Ant-Man, who is gonna watch that for a second time? Thor: The Dark World? Probably the worst MCU movie in history, and that doesn't get shit on as much as Batman vs Superman, even though Batman vs Superman is a much better movie. The DC EU can't replicate this, but it has to go forward, and sadly Zack Snyder's Justice League is a major step backwards, mostly because it doesn't have a cohesive story. In truth, being better than the disjointed theatrical effort isn't anything to boast about, especially not when there are several plot holes, such as Lois and Batman adding Clark as Superman to cops, and Cyborg not being able to hack heat-seeking satellites on the fly. In addition to the film's dialogue's rough, and there's an overuse of slow motion, and there are few shoehorned cameos that just feel entirely out of place. Oh my god. What is this? CBS are stupid takes, man. Or CBR. Yeah, there might be an overuse of slow motion, but nothing. I didn't think it was too crazy. I mean, when you have the Flash, you need to use slow motion, or otherwise you're just gonna see a blur on screen all the time. And if you actually want to see the Flash save people, you don't just want to see a blur every time he's on screen. Shoehorn cameos. You know that Zack Snyder was supposed to have a 3-movie Justice League arc. Obviously, he had, to introduce the characters in this movie when they didn't let him finish his arc. What feels out of place? Does Martian Manhunter feel out of place? No, that was epic, okay? That was epic seeing Martian Manhunter in Justice League. Barry Allen saving Iris West was also amazing. And the ending scene where Martian Manhunters comes to visit Bruce Wayne. That was actually supposed to be a Green Lantern, but obviously Warner Brothers didn't allow him to do that either. Like so many things that they messed up. And what do you mean that it has a cohesive story? It does have a cohesive story. Superman dies, and a threat is coming. Because he dies, the mother boxes awaken, and Darkseid sends Steppenwolf down to Earth to reclaim the mother boxes so he can use them. And anti-life is there on Earth. And obviously, they need Superman to beat Steppenwolf because he's so much stronger than them. And they bring him back to life. And then in the middle of that, we have Cyborg trying to become more human. But apparently, it doesn't have a cohesive story. Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. They even got the title wrong of the movie because it's called Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, not Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. Cutting edge reporting once again. But Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice was a clear indicator of that, which is why the studio pushed the panic button. The DCEU can't make the same mistake twice, especially for a movie that just applies bandages to previous flaws. Wait. This can't make the same mistake twice, especially for a movie that just applies bandages. You mean that Batman v Superman was just a movie that applies bandages to previous flaws, like Man of Steel? There were no flaws in Man of Steel. Man of Steel is probably the second best DCEU movie. People complained that it wasn't the Superman from the comics. He was too dark, but Zack Snyder had a vision for him that he would become lighter as the movies expanded, but Man of Steel never came to be because Warner Brothers again apparently don't like Henry Cavill. For some reason they don't like Superman. But ultimately, the barometer for success shouldn't be hashtags, mentions, retweets, and marketing metrics being hit. And if Warner Bros. Want to come close to its competition, which is again Marvel, inspirational and uplifting content is where the way. This is infuriating. These people just want the DCEU to be exactly like Marvel. When DCEU tried to rush their movies to catch up to Marvel, people said that it was a mistake. And now they want the DCEU to be basically a second Marvel Studios. You want Batman to run around and making jokes and singing and dancing? No, it doesn't work. Yeah, it may work for some characters, like the Flash making jokes. He's a funny character. Hal Jordan from Green Lantern Corps. It will work there as well. Not everything needs to be, what did I say? Inspirational, uplifting content. BVS was a movie about Batman who, was afraid of Superman because he is so strong he could end the universe if he had one bad day. How could you make that movie uplifting? And the end of Justice League was, Zack Snyder's Justice League was uplifting, if you don't include the epilogue. Batman, Wonder Woman, and Alfred, they go to the burnt down Wayne Manor, and they're gonna have the Hall of Justice there. And you saw Flash running and Aquaman going to visit his father and accepting his heritage, that comes later on in Aquaman. So it has uplifting moments, and I think Batman's journey is inspirational as well. From a guy that has lost all hope to a guy that has more hope. In truth, Snyder's vision just doesn't feel like it can be a critical or financial hit in the future. Okay. Justice League. How much money did Justice League make? It made 657 million, and it was shit. You're telling me that if Zack Snyder's version released in theaters, that it wouldn't cross $1 billion or at least 900 million? Get out of here! If social media hype was the thing that broke Office records, this would be a different conversation, but the DCEU needs to learn from past mistakes and push forward with a brighter future. How can the DCEU move forward with a brighter future if you don't want the SnyderVerse to be restored, you fucking idiots? I'm actually getting heated here. What they're writing doesn't make sense. They just want it to be Marvel Studios. My god. Okay, so that was basically my, it ended up with a rant But I just couldn't. I have to defend my boy Zack. I love the Justice League movie, and apparently CBR don't. And then we have an article here that says Zack Snyder's Justice League, what the DCU can do with that heroic epilogue. But what are you going to do with that epilogue if you don't want the SnyderVerse to be restored? Get the fuck out of here.
A good death has its own reward.